All right. We have something for you here for you to listen to. The linchpin of this is the great George Gamark, the legendary disc jockey. Not too long ago, he went to an estate sale.
That's some weird-ass music.
This?
What is this?
It's trapeze.
Okay.
You never heard this song?
Uh-uh. Anyway.
Oh, they rocked. Anyway, he went to an estate sale not too long ago and found a bunch of tapes, a bunch of old radio tapes of Dallas radio from the 60s and 70s and 80s and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's just a treasure trove of stuff. Robert Wolonsky has been putting these up on the intranet in recent weeks. And he had one not too long ago of Cliff in the 70s, which I think you boys should hear sometime if you haven't already.
This guy just randomly had this stuff?
Yeah, I think he used to be a radio engineer.
Okay.
And he just had this stuff. Robert put something else up, though, that I honestly did not believe we would ever hear again, for the simple reason that I didn't think any of this existed, because even in its time, this was pretty eclectic stuff that didn't have a whole lot of listeners. And if you listen
really?
to this, oh yeah.
I thought that all of you guys that were 17 to 25 or 30, this was it.
Well, it was for me, but I don't think that there were just a ton of them.
Okay.
Because it never did anything ratings-wise. I'm sure the ratings game was quite a bit different back then. But we're talking about the FM station KNUS. KNUS. Now, those of you who have been around for a little while might remember KNUS as a more top 40 station, which did very, very well for a long period of time. It's K-Love now. 98.7 K-Love. But in its first incarnation, it was KNUS, and it was playing underground music for hippies. It was at a time when a lot of stations had FM signals, but they either didn't do anything with them, or if they did, they played Horst Jankowski and things like that over and over again.
Right.
It was soft music, they called it.
Soft.
And
soft rock.
The FM signals were no good. They didn't realize what a gold mine they were sitting on, especially 98.7. But anyway, the guys at Cliff, as the Summer of Love came in and music started to change a little bit, they started trying to work some of the stuff into the Cliff Top 40 format. And then finally, they talked the powers that be to giving them their FM station and letting them play this type of music over there. And this has been parodied over the years as being real stoner stuff, helmed by a DJ who was so stoned he could barely sit up straight and couldn't remember what he had just played. And that's not all that far from the truth. Far out! As you're about to see here. Now, you have listened to this stuff. What were your impressions of it?
Yeah, you can lower his stuff over there. I got this over here on purple. Why do I have purple today?
Purple.
Anyway, when I first heard this stuff, because look, I'm made fun of up here, especially by Kat, for not appreciating radio or not knowing the business of radio, that all I know is the ticket. But I love this stuff. And I'm fascinated by that era more than anything else, and especially hearing you tell stories about the station and never hearing it before. It's kind of like what you described. I thought this would be just really hippy-dippy stuff and really, you're talking about like fourth, fifth level type songs that, were buried on popular records. Mm-hmm. But hearing it was an eye-opener, because clearly they knew what they were doing, and even though it was pretty hippy-dippy, it was awesome to hear.
Yeah. Now, the music format for this station was pretty much anything goes. I mean, if it was a There was no consideration given to how popular a song might be, what genre it might be, or anything like that. I mean, you might hear something really crazy and hard driving, some Johnny Winter on 1 minute, and then they follow that with Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands the next, you know?
So I put a little montage together of the music that was played in this 30-minute clip, which was bisected by about 5 minutes of news and a couple of commercials. But I think this gives you a pretty good sampling of the type of stuff that was heard on there. And I don't even know what a couple of these are. I've never in my life heard of the bands before. Never.
Yeah.
So this is just a little montage, and you can tell us what all this stuff is, Michael. What is this?
This is South California Purples by the Chicago Transit Authority, which you know today is Chicago.
This is Chicago?
This is Chicago. Well, you know this.
Heck yeah, you do.
Yeah. So they follow up that Chicago song. Was Chicago pretty underground back then?
Their first album was played on underground stations. I mean, they were viewed as cool back then.
Unbelievable. So they roll the Stones. And then they roll Creedence cover of Bo Diddley.
Yes.
Wow.
$1 million, Danny, if you know this song.
It's by the Yardbirds?
No.
Okay.
Did you know this song?
No.
You didn't?
I did not.
What is it?
That's how deep they go. He didn't even know the song.
Does anybody know?
It's a song called Catfish from Rory Gallagher's Taste.
Wow. Rory Gallagher?
You ever heard that name before?
Oh, yeah, of course. Guitar great.
Yeah.
So that's just a smattering of what we heard in that 30
God, I
minute
would
set.
listen to this. Wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was great stuff, man.
This is nothing more than pot music.
Yes. That's right.
It's late night music.
All right, we're rolling now.
So, and then they said, I was reading the article that Wolanski wrote, and they would think nothing of going from Rory Gallagher's Catfish into a Mozart song.
That's about the size of it. Like I say, there was no regard given to things having to sound a certain way, or does it fit the format? If you want to bend some genres, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It really was, or it seemed to be anyway, anything goes radio.
Okay, so make sense of this. So this is 1970, all right? And this is underground radio, I get that. But what is going on here? I don't even understand this. This is how the whole thing starts. This is like the open to this guy's show. And what's his name? Joe Reed?
Yeah, Joe Reed is the guy's name. And I don't know anything about him or have any idea who that is.
But do you remember him?
No, I don't.
You don't remember him being one of the DJs?
Most of the time, the DJs on this station just went by one name.
Like
it'd have Spencer.
And that's
Carson.
And that's what you'll hear here. He introduces himself as a guy followed by one other, a guy with one name. Okay, so here's the open.
Jimi Hendrix Band of Gypsies with Buddy Miles and Billy Cox. I am Joe. Tim's in at 6. Switchboard is people with something to give. Phone 352-9749 and give something of yourself.
Okay, so what was that? What was he even talking about?
He wants you to call in.
And give something to the switchboard?
Yeah, switchboard was kind of a community service hotline, like if you had something that you could do for somebody, then, it was kind of like that.
All right, so here's the first advertisement that we hear.
When it comes to auto stereo, those in the know choose Craig. Make it a Craig Christmas. Tapes Incorporated also has the very latest in 8-track tapes and stereo albums. See them at Tapes Incorporated at 1018 East Irving Boulevard at Nursery, behind the Texaco station in Irving.
And by the way, they're using the Grateful Dead's Box of Rain
without their permission.
I was getting ready to say, were there any laws back then governing things like this?
None
you could
whatsoever.
Just throw. I mean, you know what? For my product, I'll use Box of Rain, a really popular song from the Dead. Oh, my God. Off. Bob Weir would be jumping up your throat. Okay, this is back to programming. So you're back to whatever they do. That was a one little, 30-second commercial. Now this.
That's the Dow Jones Industrial, is that? And now this hour's business brief.
I don't know what this is.
Hang on.
That's John Lennon on KNUS, soon to be the most powerful station in the Great Southwest.
98.7. You won't have any trouble finding us because we'll be everywhere.
All right, now there.
That's creepy.
They had just been told and just learned that they were going to be able to go 100,000 watts.
Really?
Yeah.
That's big news.
Yeah, it was big news.
Okay, so we heard something there.
I'll be glad when we can go 10,000 watts.
We heard something there that sounded very familiar. When I heard that this morning for the first time driving around, I thought of you instantly. So listen again.
Have any trouble finding us because we'll be everywhere.
Wait a minute.
North Southwest.
Yeah, right there.
98.7.
To be the most powerful station in the Great Southwest.
The Great Southwest.
Great Southwest.
Now, that is something that I've only heard you say before.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. I've never heard anybody use that term, and I'm wondering if that's where you got that, in the Great Southwest.
Actually, it was quite common.
Was it really?
Yeah. A lot of people used to refer to the Great Southwest back in the day.
No, I didn't. I've never heard that until you brought that up.
I'm shocked that you never heard that.
I don't think it was very common for around here.
Yeah, maybe not.
So they do all these songs that we play. They do these crazy, weird opens, and there were all kinds of weird commercials. You know, there was one for John's Jeans.
Mm-hmm. I remember John's Jeans.
John's Jeans.
Which was in Old Town, right?
Yes.
Which, I can't, what was Old Town like? In Old Town, and for those who don't know, it's Greenville and Lovers, that whole strip center there, shopping center.
Not like it is now. It was new, and it was about to become very, very happening in a few years.
Okay. So then they go to news, and I'm so glad this was in here from Joe. So they go right from a song into news.
KNUS Dallas. News under the hour.
And it's 2:30 in Dallas. Federal narcotics agents seized between $21 and $23 million worth of heroin today in one of the largest drug shipments ever intercepted.
You lead with the big drug raid.
Yeah. Just to bum your audience out.
Oh, man. Where's the heroin going to come from?
4 persons, including 1 woman and 3 Argentine nationals, have been arrested for smuggling. Narcotics officials believe that the shipment, which arrived in Miami Beach wrapped in Christmas paper aboard a chartered jetliner, originated in South America, possibly Buenos Aires. The agents refused to say how they knew that shipment, about 208 pounds, was en route to the States. 4 suspects were arrested while transferring the packages of heroin into a car.
So casual.
The old packages of heroin.
Okay, so it's time to move on to the next story, but then he kind of loses his place.
Saturday was a busy day for 2 huge raids by federal agents who have been working undercover for the past several weeks. One raid was nationwide. It's believed to have been the target raid on an organized gaming, with 27 persons being arrested. A coordinated effort involved agents and sports betting operations in 26 cities. In Miami, the federal narcotics...
Okay, remember the heroin story
that
he led with? That was the first story. So he wraps the heroin story up. He goes into a sports betting story, and then...
Yeah, another bust.
Yeah, and then this.
A coordinated effort involved agents and sports betting operations in 26 cities. In Miami, the federal narcotics agents intercepted one of the largest drug shipments in history, the one we just told you about, between $21 and $23 million worth of heroin.
Forgot! forgot he did it.
The one we just told you about.
He just did it, man.
This guy is the opposite of Joe Long.
Oh, God, is he ever?
I mean, can you imagine Joe Long reporting this story? It would be strident and in your face, and Miami officials have reported the largest shipment of heroin.
Not
and this guy's, hey, man, I forgot I already did the story like 18 seconds ago.
I just think it's very possible Joe Long was right down the hall.
Oh, do you think that Joe Long, if he ever, someone told him, like, Joe, you need to listen to KNUS on 98.7 and tell us what you think of that. You'll get a big kick out of it. And then he listened to it and he's driving around in his car like, either dying laughing or just so disgusted by it all.
I bet it was disgusted by where this is all headed.
Yeah, the future of the business is not in good hands.
Queen Elizabeth has acted to try to end a 6-day-old British electrical worker.
Here's what's weird is he's got a Queen Elizabeth story. There's still Queen Elizabeth stories going on, you know?
Workers' slowdown has been blacking out parts of the island nation. In December, the Queen proclaimed a state of national emergency earlier today, giving the government full authority to call out the troops to end the labor showdown if necessary. The power workers have been causing blackouts throughout Britain to support their demands for a 30% pay increase. The U.S. and Soviet delegations to those...
I just picture him over just kind of crushing out half of a joint into an ashtray.
Yes, and just taking his time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, that's like a 5-second or 7-second pause.
Which back then was unexcusable.
Yeah, now it gets replayed 1,000 times.
Yes.
But back then...
The U.S. and Soviet delegations to those strategic arms limitations talks are still trying.
So at the end, they go right into an advertisement for the new Doors album. Now, this is before Morrison was dead.
Yeah. This is early 1970.
13. The Doors.
Hang on.
The Unknown Soldier.
Oh, whoa, golly.
What are you doing?
Commercial.
The Crystal Ship.
September 26th, the president said that he's trying to use the immense moral authority of his office to end the violence and promote justice in America.
Quickly.
Roadhouse Blues. Touch Me. Hello, I Love You.
We'll need the touch.
The Crystal Ship.
Touch Me.
Backdoor Man. People are strange. You're lost, little girl.
This is awesome.
Love Me 2 times. Moonlight Drive. The Unknown Soldier. Wild Child. Land Ho. Light My Fire. 13. The Doors. A new Elektra album of 13 classic Doors songs.
No time to hesitate is through. No time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can.
Hang on, we got a price for this now.
And our love become a funeral.
And that album is now available at Soundtown for only $239. KNUS what?
$239.
Where was it available?
It's Soundtown. Oh, what is it?
Soundtown.
Oh, Soundtown.
Where was that?
I think it was in maybe Preston Center.
Okay. It's awesome to listen
incredible.
to. I'm gonna go ahead and tweet this thing out. You can listen to the whole thing, and I do recommend listening to all the music all the way through because it is a trip.
You really need context here to get the full effect.
And you need to fight through all 8 minutes of Catfish. Because I did it, damn it.
How about a little Deserted Cities of the Heart on there, too?
Yeah, for sure.
Like that?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's the way it used to be when Dallas rocked.